Morning YouTube, it's Caleb with White Metal Games here. It's been a couple weeks since I posted a video. I was on my honeymoon, but now I'm back and everything's back in full swing, so I wanted to show a quick update of things I've been working on around the workshop, so I'm going to try to go through this. There's a lot to show, so I'll get started. A client of mine plays a Tomb King's army, and he's always looking for a cheaper variant on all of his models. So he came up with these as a poor man's alternative to Ushbadi with bows. These bows are made from toy dinosaur parts. Actually, I need to cover that gap up a little bit. These guys are actually Mage Knight figures, and they stand about 40 millimeters tall, so they're a pretty good size for Ushbadi. He also wanted a giant. This is a Ralpartha skeletal giant, which I've converted up with the fin from a Dark Eldar Raider to use as a weapon on a staff. This head is also from these guys, but I just carved out the face and used a heat gun to melt it around this skeleton. This skeleton figure is actually a really nice pewter figure. And then I gave him a few extra bits. This is a small piece from a Slaanesh Lord or a Slaanesh Greater Demon, and then the belt on the back is also just small bits and pieces here and there to sort of make him stand out a little bit. So I think he'll work pretty well. This is a trophy dais for a Blood Bowl game. My brother recently got in a Blood Bowl, so I've made him this. I've had this trophy for a while, so I put it on a marble plinth and a base and put a little red tabard around it and then gray stuffed it up, so that will paint up really nicely and it'll be a nice little trophy that he can use and pass between his friends during games. Alright, on to the meat and potatoes. So this was originally designed to be a Kugoth conversion. I like the slug-like look of Jabba the Hutt, and I really wanted to sort of put that on a model. See if I can give you the whole thing here. So this is meant to be Kugoth's dais. He's a Greater Demon Nurgle Lord. And it's said that he uses alchemy and magic and science interchangeably. So I put all of these different mechanical pumps and pistons on his dais. And I also put all this mathematical formulae. I've got books and scrolls and vials and different devices, but he's also got these mechanical devices here and there scattered about. So I think it forms a really nice sort of moving dais for him. It's on these massive tank shreds. Now, I also wanted this. Now, obviously, it is Jabba the Hutt, but we've taken the figure, we've converted him up, we've Nurgle-fied him with all these rotting pustules, we've given him some guts that are spilling out of his rib cage, and then we've given them these classic antler horns, which are on the original Nurgle Demon. His sword over here is also pretty rotted looking. It's kind of desiccated. So I kind of like the figure. I think he works pretty well. It's pretty big. As you can see, it's almost a foot long. And I designed the dais this way so that it can also count as a Plague Reaper. That way, if you want to use this thing as a tank in a 40k game, you've got these side sponson las cannons and heavy bolters. You've got the front heavy bolter and the what do you call it, the Devastator Vindicator cannon, and then you could imagine that Kugoth vomits the stream of vile putrescence. So I think that works pretty well as sort of a poor man's Plague Reaper. That way you don't have to spend a couple $100 converting one up. This one's already done up, so that'll be up on eBay very soon. This is a poor man's giant. It was originally based on a Gamorrean guard that I had used the head on a Demon Prince, and I had the body left. So I used a couple bits laying around the workshop to finish him out. He actually stands a good deal higher than a normal figure. He's not perfect, but he's not bad. So I'm going to actually sell him off as a giant figure. And I think his gut and his growth there looks pretty nice. So I think he'll work really well actually. This we're selling as a Tomb Stalker. Now, the Forge World put out a Tomb Stalker figure, the smaller centipede-like figure, but originally in the fluff, Tomb Stalkers were huge, massive creatures. This is originally a He-Man toy called what was he called? Spydor. And then basically we just took it, we opened him up and we gutted him and took out all the ribs and all the stuff inside to lighten his load. We gray stuffed all over the joints and continued this fur pattern that had existed on the model previously. So we covered all that up, and then we created this opening here where these wires are going into. The head is actually an original Matrix Sentinel head, and that's been added and gray stuffed over and cleaned up. So it's not a terrible conversion. The most expensive part was the Matrix Sentinel heads. I did one of these a while ago, and it didn't sell that well. So I was looking for a cheaper way to build it, so I got rid of the Necron kit I was using and just went straight with these two pieces and then just made them work together. And I think for a poor man's conversion, it works pretty well. There are stats for this thing out there on Bella Lost Souls. You can see a size comparison there. It just dwarfs this Marine. So those are going to be going up on eBay very soon. This, I had some leftover Star Wars bits, so this I'm going to be selling with an oval base and selling it as a poor man's Chaos Spawn. Again, Forge World releases this giant Chaos Spawn figure that looks a lot like a prowling cat with these massive Displacer Beast-like tentacles on its back. So we're going to be selling 3 of these. And that's been gray stuffed over completely, so it's completely covered up, so it'll prime up really well. I had enough bits on hand to do one more Turvagon, so I did one more of these guys, and he'll be up for sale on eBay soon. These guys were really popular. I sold out completely, so I'm down to my last one. So he'll be up in a couple days. These are some poor man's Demonettes, Fiends of Slaanesh. I'd seen a lot of people do these Demonettes with these lower bodies that are different, like spiders or whatever, so I wanted to do something like that. I had a bunch of these Ravener tails left over, so I kind of created this slithering fiend. Now, traditionally, fiends are on cavalry bases, so this technically doesn't work in a legal army, but for a fun army, I think it's fine. It's on a 40 mil, and as a squad, I think they work very well together. So now they won't sell for a lot because a box of fiends isn't that much really, but you know, for someone who's really on a budget, this may be a good option. The Mumok project is back on. The client was abroad for a few months and he's got back in touch with me, so we're going to be finishing this up soon. For those of you who didn't follow the progress of this at all, this was a project for a client who's doing a sort of jungle Imperial Guard army with you know, the whole English look when they were exploring Africa back in the day, you know, about 100 years ago or so. So back during the Zulu Nation time, its height of power. So anyway, so he's doing an army like that. So he wanted some Mumoks on safari with these massive laser cannons and battery emplacements on the side. So that was a lot of fun to kit bash that together. And it's got a raised dais up here that is he can put soldiers on and actually move them around. So that'll be a lot of fun. We did another squad of Trigons. These are poor man's Trigons. We sell these for about 15 bucks a pop on eBay. So you can get these for the same cost as you could get one Trigon. You can get 3 of these. They're based on a McFarlane Dragon with regular 40k bits, and then the head is a combination of McFarlane bits, Kenner Alien bits, and Warhammer bits. It's sort of a poor man's alternative if you don't feel like buying the whole kit. You know, you can get this one pre-assembled for a fraction of what the other one costs you. Trying to think if there's anything else. I guess I can show you these. These are some bikers, some snowmobile bikers I did for a Space Wolf army, and I made way too many of them, so these are going up for sale. I liked the idea of bikers on snowmobiles. I thought that was fun for a Space Wolf army. So these are based on a Mattel toy, a Matchbox snowmobile, and then they have the twin link bolters, of course, and it's been mounted to these HeroScape style bases, which I actually kind of like for this. And then it's got the guys on top. This is not a terribly difficult conversion once you get the legs straight, but it is time consuming. So I've got about 20 of those or so. Those are going to be up for sale on eBay in the next couple days. What else can I show you? I did this as a fun project, an Angel of Death project. I was in my D&D game. We have an evil angel they're going to be fighting soon. So this is a skeletal giant by Reaper. Which is actually a huge figure. That's a 60mm base. And I added these wings from a dragon toy from HeroScape. I got one other thing I can show you. Oh, I got 2 other things. This is a... Ooh, let's see if we can put some light on. This is a Slaanesh demon that I converted. I was going to use it originally as a Kerrigan-style figure, but I didn't end up using it for that purpose. So this is going to be up for sale on eBay. I've covered her body in this sort of living bio-tissue armor. And she's got these massive wings, and I was going to use her originally as sort of a Hive Tyrant variant, but that didn't work out quite so well. I decided to move in a different direction with the army. So now she's going to be up for sale on eBay. She's a basic Slaanesh Greater Demon, and then I've just modified her. And I've also got this guy. He is another one of these. I wanted to do some sort of angel conversion. So he's an Angel of Decay, and I've got to do the flesh all over him. But once that's done, he should be straight. So a lot going on.